Welcome to Conversations with Zaki Baruti, with your host, Zaki Baruti. And like always, a shout out to my biological family, what's going on? To the Universal African Peoples Organization family, what's happening? And to the New Life Evangelistic Center family, keep up the great work led by Reverend Rice. And also shout out to our cameraman this evening. Once again, we're going to have another great evening. And the last time my guest was in here, we had said that we were doing part 4 of a series of discussion about travel, international travel, but we couldn't just stop at 4. So now we're at part 5 in terms of with my special guest, Brother Malik Ahmed, founder of Better Family Life. Again, welcome you to the program.
It's a wonderful pleasure to be back with you for part 5 of this marathon.
Right. And we're dealing with travel and international travel first and foremost, but also, you know, there's a number. I was talking to a young lady the other day. She said basically she hadn't been out of Missouri, and she was about 40 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's a number of other folks who just for whatever reason don't travel. But you have seen the world. You've been into how many countries?
31 countries.
31 countries. Yes. And I got you by just a couple more.
I got me
by 34.
You know? Yes. So I'll continue to follow you.
I got to try to stay ahead of you. And some of the places you've been saying, I definitely got to go to.
Yeah.
And, you know, in our last episode, we had talked about China and Costa Rica and Panama. And just want to pick up on Panama because Panama for me is a place that also is a bucket list that I like to see. Yeah. But also within the political historic task, you know, Panama was attacked under the administration of George Bush.
Reagan, I believe it was.
No, it was Bush.
Bush? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Senior Bush.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah,
right.
And
they were beating the drums during the Reagan administration, and then George Bush.
Well, I think under the Reagan administration, you know, because they went into Panama based on trying to get the president Noriega, Manuel Noriega, out of for being a drug pusher. But if you remember, at the height when Reagan came in, you had the Iran-Contra scandal, which involved the CIA involved in the drug industry.
In Panama, that was kind of like the transit point. But towards the end of the Reagan administration, that's when they turned against him. So they got everything out that they needed from Noriega.
Used them up
like a puppet, and then he became the villain and the cause of all of the drugs coming into America.
And in that sense, and you can share with our audience in terms of the population, but I understand there's a sizable black community, and many of their neighborhoods had been destroyed when the United States Armed Forces went in there to supposedly capture Noriega. About 4,000 people.
I think we toured, Deborah and I, we toured Old Panama City, and that's where we were told that a lot of the attacks took place there. But
did you still have the remnants of the attacks, or had that been cleaned up?
Just some of the buildings were still bombed out, you know, or uninhabitable. But for the most part, they had cleaned it out. Panama City is a sprawling metropolis. It's a wonderful city. It has an underground subway just like New York or Chicago. Whatever was taking place in Panama, there's a lot of development throughout that country.
And again, racially, so people are clear?
Now, here's the deep thing. You know, Latino, Hispanic countries have a serious racial problem. The dark Panamanians we didn't see any of them in positions of power. All of the shops that we went into, they were not visible. But 60% to 70% of the population is people that of African descent. And I would even go as far as to say that it's important for African Americans to learn Spanish, to learn French, to learn an African language, Swahili or Yoruba, because you need to hear these people's stories. You need to hear them talk about their slavery experience, the kind of discriminations that they've had to face and that they are still facing, the unemployment crisis, the drug crisis in Black communities in those countries. We experienced all of that when we were in Panama. We went to a place called Colón, which is about 75, 80 miles outside of Panama City.
But you know, Malik, I have to stop you. I'm sorry. Again, for my audience, some might say, well, if you're seeing all that, why would I want to go see that?
You may. I mean,
in terms of the negative.
You may not. I mean, in every country you go to, there's the negative. I mean, you know, you can go to North St. Louis, that's negative, but it doesn't speak to what's taking place in the United States. We need to see it because we need to link up with these struggles that's taking place throughout the world, especially where our people are concerned. We need to see it in terms of the country because there's a lot of economic opportunities in these countries. You're dealing with Black folks. There are areas in Black areas that are undeveloped. It does not cost the same kind of, you know, high dollars here associated with developments. There are a lot of Black Americans that have homes and stuff in Panama and are doing business in Panama. So because a place have, you know, some serious social problems, racial problems, it should not exclude us. If everybody else in the world is there, why shouldn't we not be there?
That's a very great point. On that note, though, we'll have to take another break.
I want to thank God for each and every one of you that are supporting NLEC TV, the work of the New Life Evangelistic Center, and making it all possible so we can have conversations with Zaki on the air along with the other programming that's on NLEC TV. Not only we discover that at 24.2, but I actually watch it on my cell phone at a very special app that we have of NLEC TV, and you can just pull it up. It's so easy that everybody can watch it anywhere. So wherever I travel, I can be watching this program and other programs. Now, all this is possible only because of caring people like you that are sharing those much-needed tax-deductible gifts at this time with the New Life Evangelistic Center. We have a lot of things that are unfolding at this moment. We're continuing to help multitudes of people, not only throughout Mid-America, but as far away as India and Africa and other locations around the world. And we really do need your help. After they closed down 1411 Locust, we're continuing to help the homeless directly out on the streets every week. We're out in the mayor's window distributing bus tickets and other direct supplies. We have regular events out in front of 1411 Locust, and we're working actually through the legal, the mediation, the advocacy, and getting prayer warriors to pray that we can reopen 1411 Locust in the near future. But we need your involvement at this particular moment. And your gifts to the New Life Evangelistic Center make such a big difference. You can send that to P.O. Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri, that's 63166, or you can give online through the PayPal system at newlifeevangelisticcenter.org or NLEC STL. I ask you to continue to stand with us right now as we continue to bring many programs like Conversation with Zaki to you, but we need your help.
If you can't receive NLEC TV on channel 24.2 on your TV, you can watch us on your home computer or laptop, anywhere in the world. Simply type in NLEC TV, then select NLEC TV support and click on the small NLEC TV on the right of the menu bar. Click on the play indicator to start the live programming, the same programming as 24.2. You can then enlarge the picture and enjoy your favorite programs like the NLEC Worship with Larry Rice, The Bernie Hayes Show, Experience the Benefits of Change with Pastor Burris, Conversations with Zaki Baruti, News and Views, and so much more.
Can you hear the music of creation?
NLEC TV is also available on all mobile devices such as smartphones and iPads. By getting the NLEC TV app, you can enjoy NLEC TV anywhere you go.
Welcome back to Conversations with Zaki Baruti. In studio with me is Brother Malik Ahmed, and we're in part 5 of discussion about international travel through his eyes and why you should have a passport and go outside of the country. And we were on the other side of the break talking about Panama.
Panama, yeah. So, yeah, there are some racial issues there, but that's just one of the struggles as black people that we've got to face wherever those problems are. There's another side of these countries of the beauty, the natural beauty, rainforests and waterfalls and beautiful mountains and volcanic eruptions, and that's not harming folks, but that's pretty much intact. Just nature, just being able to experience how beautiful this world is, and that it's not that expensive in these countries. In some places you can get a loan with $5 a day. The food costs in Panama and some of these other, Costa Rica, they are not expensive. So you can live relatively cheap. You can build houses relatively cheap. And again, as I continue to say, you can extend your organizations. What if there was a UAPO in all of these countries that we talked about?
Absolutely.
A better family life in all of these countries that we're talking about. Because if our situation is serious in North St. Louis, you can imagine what it is in places like Panama or Belize or Cuba or Ghana, any place you can think of. We have the organizational skills, we have the technical skills to be able to be of assistance in the development. So that's another reason. But the biggest thing, it helps just expand your mind in ways that you just never imagined.
And you know what? And again, I have to interrupt, but you when you say some things, it just generate a thought that I need to share. The other side of being conscious of others is that too we can provide assistance, and
yes.
In terms of, I'm proud to say, our organization has coordinated shipping clothing and medical supplies to Zimbabwe. We shipped 9,000 books to Ethiopia for a non-government agency. We shipped in 2015 10,000 books to Ghana, have built a library.
Yes.
So that is important, but we got to, like you say, set up some chapters in those places.
And Zaki, see, that's very interesting. I know that when you did that shipping and you were able to move something from the United States across the water to another country, and they receive it, and they are giving you accolades and praise, that just tells you how deep your mind is. So imagine shipping something from there back.
Absolutely.
So we can engage in international trade. These are people that look like us. They have the same sentiments that we have. A lot of times they even have the same politic. What has happened to their country has happened to our community. What has happened to their people have happened to our people. So in many cases, these are presidents and ambassadors and diplomats that's young. They're in their 30s, they're in their 40s. They are impressed with African Americans. They may have gone to school, in America and have been around African Americans. So they want to do business with African Americans. It's not just in Africa, but this is all in the Caribbean, in Central, South America. Cuba, for instance, it's just 90 miles off the coast of America. So you can literally be in Florida and set up an operation that can go. I mean, you know, we hope that all
sanctions.
These silly tariffs and embargoes and all the rest of that stuff. But these are people, my point is that all over the world, these are people that look just like us.
So the key point, want to hammer in the potentiality of international trade. Instead of people, other from outside our community bringing the diamonds and the gold, that we can do it.
We can do it. Cultural exchanges. We can send people over to Africa to stay for 6 weeks and 8 weeks. And then we can receive Africans or people from the Caribbean for 6 and 8 weeks. We have the organizational infrastructure to put those things in place.
So that's the task ahead. We got to make it happen. On that note, though, and going back to travel, you mentioned Belize.
Belize was one of the things that I really love.
And where is Belize? Belize.
It's right off of the Mexican, I guess it's west of Mexico, but you can get there right.
No, south.
South of Mexico, excuse me.
Southeast.
Right. Southeast of Mexico. It's right there. It's like a hop, skip, and a jump from Mexico or from Texas. But the beautiful thing that just resonated for me in Belize is all of the ancient monuments, the Aztec and the Mayan civilizations. Those pyramid structures are still in place. I had a chance to go to 3 or 4 of them in the mountains, and it was like, wow.
Yep, I can bear witness.
And then I'm in the mountains, I'm looking at Honduras on one side, Nicaragua on another side, Mexico on another side, Colombia on another side. It just amazed me that when you're in these places, you see how close you are to other places. And then you see African-looking people, black people, again.
In Belize.
It's like, whoa, this is another country that's maybe 50, 60% African, black people, descendants from Africans.
On that note, though, we got to take another quick break.
Moving, oh, they're disapproving. Keep them doggies moving, Lord. Don't try to understand them, just rope and throw and brand.
And so a friend and I slept in an abandoned house, and we got arrested.
Move 'em on, hit 'em up, move 'em on, hit 'em up, raw high. Let 'em out, ride 'em in, let 'em out, cut 'em out, ride 'em in, raw high.
I hope you're enjoying the Zaki Baruti Show, and I thank God for each one of you that are praying and working with us to get back into the 1411 Locust Building, one of the greatest acts of discrimination in modern history, as we see a 5-story facility shut down because neighbors didn't want to see those kind of people in the neighborhood, as they refer to them at. Those kind of people, as they refer to them at, are actually individuals that are made in the image of God, who Jesus said, as oft you've done to the least of these, he said, even so you've done it unto me. As you share a gift of $10 or more with the New Life Evangelistic Center, you're not only helping New Life Evangelistic Center to get back into 1411 Locust Street, but you're helping so many of the hurting and the homeless in so many different ways. And as you share your gift, please request your copy of Through the Fire. It tells you the whole story of steps that were taken by the rich and powerful to shut down 1411 Locust. Now we're working to get back in there, and it will happen as you pray, as you get directly involved. So as you share your gift, be sure you ask for a copy of Through the Fire, and know that by giving, caring, and sharing at this time, you're helping so many people that are in need.
Hear this, you who trample the needy and do away with the poor of the land. Let justice roll on like a river, righteousness like a never-failing stream. You trample on the poor and force him to give you grain. Therefore, though you have built stone mansions, you will not live in them. Though you have planted lush vineyards, you will not drink their wine. For I know how many are your offenses and how great your sins. You oppress the righteous and take bribes, and you deprive the poor of justice in the courts.
Welcome back to Conversations with Zaki Baruti. In studio with me for a few more minutes, Brother Malik Ahmed, and we've been talking about international travel, why people should travel. You know, somebody asked, is that just confined to black folks or the travel or to these different places, or why the emphasis on blacks?
Well, I emphasize blacks because we don't travel. I think you said earlier during one of the breaks that, you know, you got people who've been in St. Louis and have never been out of the state of Missouri. So it's incumbent, but certainly travel is a universal thing that all races of people enjoy very often. It's amazing when you travel. For the most part, you as an African American, you are in the minority in some of these countries that I mentioned. In Africa, you'll see more Europeans, more white Americans.
You mean as far as travel?
As far as tourists and other kinds of things. In the Caribbean, you'll see, you know, a boatload of white Americans. So they are already doing it.
So the bottom line, black people need to catch up.
We need to catch
up.
We are 3 and 4 generations behind. One of the things that really impressed me in some of these travels is that you see young whites traveling at 16 and 17 years old, and they're on their own, and they know how to travel on $5 a day. They know the hostels and the other kinds of, you know, there's a whole structure set up in the Caribbean and in Europe for it's like a YMCA. And you can get a room for $10 a day. Deborah and I did that in Costa Rica, and it was nice.
I heard that then. So, okay, we covered Belize and we today, and we also covered Panama.
Yes.
Now, and we covered a number of other countries prior to the other shows.
Yes.
What about, some people might say, I'm too scared to go outside the country. What would you say about traveling inside the country?
I would say that America is a beautiful country. And going out west and going...
You mean scenery?
Scenery-wise, yes. The physical, the topology, the physical structure.
Because it does have some serious socio-economic problems.
No question about that. Right, but we're talking about now relaxation and
so where's been some of your top spots here in the United States that you would recommend the audience seeing?
I think that going down south is a wonderful experience, all of the 7 states, because in some of the 7 states, you still have plantations, you know, houses. And so just knowing about those, the history in Virginia and South Carolina and North Carolina and Alabama and Mississippi, these are places that we need to experience. We need to know what the outhouse experience was. We need to know. We need to know.
Outhouse.
Yes. I mean, we need to know how black people lived and how they survived and what the sharecropping system was. We need to even see and go into cotton fields and feel it so that we can conjure up the energy of how strong our people was to have resisted all of that brutality and all of the pain and the suffering and the death and the tree lynching and all of that. That is Southern traveling. And we need to go to every spot in this country and also take in the beauty of the land. There are beautiful places in Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, Tennessee, North and South Carolina, Virginia, that we need to, that's a big part of our history in America that we need to connect with. And black people who have done tremendous things, Tuskegee Institute, the historic black colleges and universities, these are tours that we should encourage our parents who have children. They should be taking their children to these places.
Now, within your travel within this country, what would be some beautiful natural sights that you have seen, but we got to deal with it on the other side as we get ready to close out the other break?
An epidemic of homelessness is sweeping throughout the United States of America. In city after city, people are ending up on the streets. Now, instead of feeling overwhelmed, as believers, we can do three things. We can give, we can volunteer, and we can pray. We can pray for the homeless refugees that we're finding in one city after another, all over the United States. So many people ending up out on the streets, and the hearts of so many are growing cold at this particular time and indifferent to the need. Jesus said, as oft as you've done it to the least of these, he said, even so you've done it unto me. When's the last time you've prayed for the homeless refugees in the United States of America, appearing in city after city, not only in major cities, but even smaller cities? So many people ending up out on the streets, even in resort areas, places you never think you'd find homeless people, they're there. Jesus said, foxes have holes and birds have nests, but he, the Son of Man, had nowhere to lay his head. Please pray for the refugees. Please pray for the homeless people in America, and pray for those that are on the front lines, the first responders, reaching out through Jesus Christ among the homeless and hurting, whether it's in Springfield or St. Louis. Your prayers and gifts to the New Life Evangelistic Center makes a big difference. This New Life Evangelistic Center, P.O. Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri, is 63166.
Now is the time to pray. And as you're praying, please remember New Life Evangelistic Center and its daily work among the hurting, the hungry, and the homeless. Remember the Bible, ask and it shall be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and it shall be opened to you.
Welcome back to Conversations with Zaki Baruti. We're getting ready to close out our 5-part series with Brother Malik Ahmed. We have traveled across the globe, and now we come right back down here in the United States. On the other side, I had asked what would be 4 natural beauty sites within America, within the bounds of the United States.
I would say going to Niagara Falls and just seeing that fall is beautiful. Going to one of the spots I love going to is Boulder, Colorado, and just going up to Pikes Peak and being in the mountains and just that beauty. And California, I would say the redwood forest, these huge trees that have been in existence for 4,000 and 5,000 years old, that's still alive. Just the magnificence of nature, going to the Grand Canyon, and just seeing the awesomeness of that. And in fact, one of the places that I'm trying to get to right now is Florida Keys, down to Key West. You can be in this country and in the Caribbean at the same time. And so, you know, it's beautiful down there. It's a lot of nature. It's a lot of lush beauty there, the animals, all of that. I mean, and then I would say traveling into these black communities around the country. New York, if the audience haven't seen Harlem, you need to go up and check out Harlem. That's my hometown. So a shout out to Harlem. But, you know, Brooklyn and Queens and the Bronx. And then Washington, D.C., there's a strong black community there. There's just black communities, all Chicago, Illinois, Atlanta, Georgia.
So it's much to see. Real quick, we got less than 30 seconds. Sum up why people should travel.
It definitely connects you to your God soul consciousness, your intellectual consciousness, your spiritual consciousness, your political consciousness. It connects you with everything about your life and about life that the whole world is experiencing. We need to experience the world so that we can better understand our place in the world.
On that note, Malik, it has been a great series, part 5,
man.
and we had transverse.
I've had a blast, Zaki. This has been wonderful.
On that note, again, as we close out, I want to thank you for tuning in to Conversations with Zaki Baruti. Like always, join an organization, join the UAPO, join Better Family Life, join some organization that speaks truth to power. On that note, may God bless each and every one of you.